Okay, so it's been brought to my attention that I should talk about this. Pisces rules over prisons, or Pisces rules over prisons and hospitals. Let's begin there. And the reason why I start there is because I want to speak about why and how people do what they do. People such as myself taking spiritual matters, practice into my hands and utilizing the gifts that I've been given. They're gifts. They're called gifts, which is like, spiritual gifts, psychic abilities, stuff like that. I'm not going to be telling y'all how to go win the lotto and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. So I'm not trying to be tested and say, oh, well, what color am I going to wear tomorrow? We're not going to do that. We're just going to give me the benefit of the doubt that I have some type of abilities and gifts. Some of y'all already know, but I'm just, giving a teaser to the crowd who just got here. Welcome, everyone. So the reason why there's people like me who exist and have gifts is because they're given to us. And this conflicts sometimes with the religious world, and I'm going to get to that, right? This conflicts with the religious world because of certain particular texts that you read in books. I'm not going to quote them right now, phrase them right now. For those of you who studied the books, you know what I'm talking about. I just want to say this, though, about I guess you could say, primary figure when it comes to religion, which is Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ said, his people are slaughtered because of the lack of knowledge. Now, I want you to remember that phrase out of all of them right now, all right? Okay, so here we are in the Aquarius age, and the Aquarius age is the age of knowledge. It's the age of truth. So if Pisces age was the age of the veil and deception being pulled over your eyes, the fog, the Neptunian fog, and now we're in a age of knowledge, the knowledge will be revealed to you, right? Reveal. Key word here, reveal. Last book in the Bible is Revelation. Reveal. Okay, so the reason why I'm making a point of this is because this is my theory. This is my stance on why you see that people who do spiritual practices and stuff like that in prior religious texts is because, again, that's the Piscean age. We're talking about the last 2,000 to 2,500 years ago, and that's the Piscean age. So if someone has the ability to see things before they happen, or gets inside information by clairvoyant practices without being in the same room, without, not even knowing the same people who are conspiring, what do you do with that person? What do you call that person? Well, it wouldn't even be a thing. It wouldn't even be a reason to want to capture somebody like that, or silence someone like that, or isolate them on an island somewhere where they can't speak and no one follows them or nothing like that. It wouldn't be a thing like that if people didn't want to do what they wanted to do in life. Free will to the max, should I say. And from being an astrologer, I can see where people have more free will than others, or utilize more free will than others. It's just their natural inheritance. All right. And like some of y'all might have, sometimes people could be like, yo, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to do what I want. Just like so-and-so and them, they doing their thing. They got all the drugs. They got all the money. They got all the girls. They got all the cars. And they ain't going to jail. They ain't get locked up yet. You go try to do it. You get pinched first time. Bang. You know what I'm saying? Or you might get your feet wet a little bit, and then next thing you know, woo, woo, there they go. You get out, you're like, oh, that's nothing. 5 years probation, and here they come again. Woo, 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 woo. Got you again. As soon as you try to jump out and do something again, you're like, yo, hold on. You may think something is peculiar and strange about how they keep getting that person, but those people keep getting free, right? And I'm not telling you to be bitter if you observe this or if you experience this. Just hear me out. This is just natural inheritances that you have. I'm telling you, I'll find it in the natal chart of these different people. But what happens is there's an extraction method that takes place when a lot of people, or when people in general, have the ability to utilize free will at that type of level, to where their ego is emphasized, right? So it's like when you do something, you get away with it, you're like, oh, that was great. You might even get a thrill off of it. And you're like, oh, I'm going to do it again. Adrenaline rush, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. And then their ego grows bigger. These people can become millionaires when it comes to cash. If you ask like big gangsters, or you watch interviews of big time gangsters, or drug dealers, and you don't even got to be like the most known big time drug dealer, but you ask some drug dealers out here, they'll tell you they went through $1 million. They done touched $1 million cash before. I don't mean they got $1 million cash, but they done ran through it before, you know? So it's like life is grand. Life is in a fast life. The money is faster, mostly more than, you know, the average person who's doing whatever they're doing for careers or work or whatever the case may be. And so these behaviors are not prevented. They're not strained like others are. Some people is just like that, like that introverts versus extroverts, right? You would say that the archetype that I'm explaining that has these egotistical behaviors are extroverted, and the others, like myself, perhaps, are, or who at least are in the spiritual realms more, will practice, or just introverts, period, right? So we have these two different archetypes here. So there's an extraction method that takes place that says, okay, you want to exercise free will to the highest potential, and the universe actually allows that to take place because that's their energy, right? You might think about high degree Mars here. You might think about high degree Sun as well, right? So these things are taking place. You might have a high degree Pluto somewhere too. These things are taking place. You're doing your thing. You're getting away with everything. And I say getting away with things because there's rules put into place, right? Because I'd say Capricorn, the energy of Capricorn, will come in and lay some rules down eventually, right? And this is where the extraction method starts to become clear, because you're going to have these investigators, these water signs, definitely Pisces and Scorpio more than Cancer, but I do know some spectacular Cancers out there that do some very, very powerful researchers. I know a couple Cancers. So, but predominantly water signs. You got some Aries, some Leos out there that like to do detective work as well, right? Even if it's more of the combat type, they're out there, right? So you have these archetypes who research things, and when you got the spiritual side of it, they are able to see into the future and see things that other people can't see. I don't know if y'all heard this video about me before when I told you about when I had my bike outside and needed some work done on it, and I had it chained up around the block, a couple of blocks down, and you know, I just let it sit there from like maybe a week or two because I was, you know, working on finding out which garage I was going to put it in as the winter came. So boom, one night I have a dream that someone is chipping away at my chain and broke the chain. And they didn't break the chain, but they was about to break the chain on the bike, right? So I go out the next day to go check on the bike, and sure enough, one more night that if this person would have had at this chain, the lock would have been broke. It would have been snipped and it had been done. So I went and I, you know, jimmied the lock up real tight again this time. So they was going to be so mad at me this time when they came back and seen how many times it was bundled up and locked up, they'd have just gave up. You know what I mean? Plus I got it out of there within the next 2 days. So, okay, now take that scenario and imagine a person is able to see threats, right? Warnings of threats, like you threatening my property and stuff like that, right? So if someone has this capability, and people who are extroverted and have large egos, when those people exercise their ego to a certain level, what happens? People either fear them. They want to, okay, this is how it goes. They want to be feared, they want to be loved, or they want to be an authoritative figure. They want to be known. Those are the three main things for extroverts and egotistical people, right? Spiritualists, on the other hand, don't really care for that, although they will at times become known for their gifts. So when a person exercises the fear factor, right, what they do, they start leaning in on people. They start exercising their muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like putting the muscle on people and taking things even, you know. This is where violent crimes come in, which hold more time, of course, right? Remember, I started off talking about Pisces rule over prisons. So these things get exercised, and it's just like, you know, some people do it for reputations. And again, fear, love. Sometimes they don't get love, so they want to get love from being a gangster and stuff like that. So these things happen. Even a soldier, a warrior, you know, I'm not going to place everything on gangsters. So this is why they enlist and things of that nature. They want to be general, sergeant, and all that, right? So, okay, so y'all are doing y'all thing. Y'all have the energy to do so. The universe says so. So this extraction method comes in when the detectives and the researchers and the investigators come and they put them cuffs on you. They've been building cases on you the whole entire time because these extroverted exertions of activity and behaviors are being recorded. They're being documented. And sure, you might slip through the cracks. You might have some high Jupiter somewhere. You just be slipping all through the cracks. And not only that, the ability to accumulate a lot of wealth through those activities is usually shared at the same time. So if you notice, like a lot of people who make fast money, they spend the money just as fast. So imagine what that does to the economy in a whole, you know. I'm just saying to look at it from an extractive, like if you're doing extraction methods, look at it like that. And when I say extraction, I pretty much mean tax collecting, all right, ruled by Scorpio. Now the tax collecting system, of course, that comes from legitimate aspects, right? When of course you have an underworld element that comes with that as well. But even illegal money is taxed when there's purchases being made in the stores, right? The state tax, the sales tax get taxed from that too. So that's kind of a way that money gets laundered. And I'm saying a lot right now, right? But I got to make my point clear, right? So money gets laundered through the everyday purchases of miscellaneous stuff, right? For those people who are doing their dirt out there. So you see how this extraction method works, right? So it's like, okay, these are why the religious texts state, you know, anyone who's doing any type of sorcery or mediumship and looking into the stars and stuff like that are wicked, they're evil, they're doing the devil's work, they're worshiping the devil and stuff like that. And it's because these people fiend to be in power. They fiend to be in control of, and it's not even control, like the illusion of being in control, right? They feed off of that. That's where their energy comes from. Put their face on a dollar bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, put their face on a coin. These are where the kings and all of that come from. The pharaohs, all of that come from, right? So it's like because they want to do whatever they want to do. Now, then you have the spiritualists in the community, in the villages and stuff like that, and everybody's like crowding around them and listening to them teach and speak and do all of this stuff. And then, you know, that rattles the king because the king is like, well, why y'all all over there? I got all this gold. I got all the bitches over here. Like, what is y'all doing over there with this dude with the curtain on his back? Like, what is y'all doing with Merlin over there with the pointy hood and shit? Like, what the fuck is going on? And then it's like, the rumor, I mean, I guess you could say it starts as rumors. The rumors start to spread. And I'm like, this is the chief of the village. And, you know, he's the spiritualist. Da, 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 da. So then, you know, the king will put him on the spot. Like they put Daniel on the spot. Like Jonah got put on the spot when they threw the rocks on the boat. And the rocks fell his way. Say, yo, you got to jump off the boat. Be like, these things start happening. They like, yo, this mediumship thing is real. Let me see. Perform an act. Tell me something. And then when they predict something that comes true, these people who are more extroverted and egotistical usually offer something to these types of individuals. You know, there's some people that are earning consultant fees right now, I should say. So yeah, it's a good word to use for their spiritual gifts. And I'm not telling spiritualists what to do, how to do it, or whatever. You run your own operation. You know what I'm saying? But just think about it. If I'm in control, my name is on the money, we getting all of the money quicker than everybody else is because y'all want to be spiritual, right? Y'all want to be peaceful and all that. When that comes with less activity, less action. So less action and less activity means less money circulating, right? So if my name and my family's name is on the bills and all that stuff, and we making all of this thing move rather quickly, then just let me be the one. Let me be the showboat. Let me be the one in front. You know what I mean? Let me be the face of this whole thing. But they get to asking the spiritualist, well, what's going to happen to me? Right? And this is where this whole hell's going to happen and they're going to burn in the hellfire stuff and all that. Like, yeah, spiritualists made that because spiritualists seen things and even warned the kings, like, listen, you better change the way you do things because something is happening. Something's going to happen and you're going to go down. So this has been happening for years to where high elected officials in the spiritual side have been in the same types of circles as those in political circles or in high-ranking authoritative figures. So I started off by saying Pisces rules over prisons and hospitals because you land in prison because you don't have knowledge. So Jesus said his people are slaughtered because of a lack of knowledge. When you start utilizing your knowledge, you get out and you get to move around and you get your money and you don't have to worry about those things no more. The hospital, if you had the knowledge to take care of your health, you wouldn't even be there. And you learn that the same thing about jail too. When you get the knowledge, you won't be there anymore. You understand what I'm saying? And even just think about it. Even those who get caught with, what is that, the blue collar, white collar crimes, how much time they do in contrast to the person who do violent crimes. I'm out.